Good morning. I'm going to formally introduce myself for those of you that are unfamiliar with me or just getting into my content. I am the Barefoot Therapist. I have been a therapist for about 15 years. I have worked in varying scenarios, spaces with varying populations, everything from inpatient to residential to substance use to trauma to admissions at a hospital, etc. I love my work. I love my clients. I am a very non-traditional therapist. When I had my office, we would take our shoes off. We have dance parties. It is a real reality-based experience, but I really love to focus on like narrative and experiential as far as my therapeutic approach. I have a group practice called the Mahogany Project spelled Projek, where it is the 5 of us. We are therapists that provide specialized holistic services, all virtually currently. I do a lot of consulting, so I've done crisis consulting for about 8 years. I'm actually on my way to a crisis shift as we speak. I've written 9 books. At this point, it's probably a little bit more to include self-help workbooks, coloring books, couples conversations journal. I have a few other projects in the midst, but I just recently put out my book on supervision. So for interns or newly licensed folks or residents, it's a really quick read to support you in entering your journey into becoming a therapist, because I'm also a supervisor. I've been a supervisor for years to different residents, and thus far all of my residents that have now moved on to be licensed have passed their test and are now licensed clinicians. So I'm really proud of that. So today, let me back up. I said I was going to give this whole YouTube thing, video thing, talk thing, another opportunity, because when I decide what balls to get rid of, this was one of them. When I'm juggling too much, this was one of the things. So I am revisiting it in a different way this time. I want to make sure I have enough to say, because interestingly enough, sometimes I don't think I have enough to say. I can do better when I'm bantering with or having a passionate conversation with someone else. So I try to be intentional about topics that I want to address. So this is kind of going to be my reintroduction to you guys in the work that I do. So some of starting with why I started my practice. I started my practice because I wanted to provide a safe space for people that look like me. I wanted to provide a non-traditional space that accepted Black folks coming as they are, and where they didn't have to explain their Blackness, and they could get the healing and support that they needed and wanted for themselves, their families. And that's exactly what we've done over the years. So I've expanded that to the LGBTQ community. I have worked and specialized with the LGBTQ community for years now as well. And I will have to say, just in getting to know more about my story, this all started with me working for a city entity probably 10 years ago. And my supervisor wanted me to individually meet with a trans woman, a Black trans woman. Again, at this point, I'm familiar with like the LGBTQ community, but that's not my space. I hadn't done a lot of education and research in that area. I'm just familiar and open. And again, at this time, I'm a clinical supervisor. I'm not seeing clients one-to-one, but this client needed some really intensive therapeutic support. So she says, hey, can you just see this person at least once a week? And I'm like, all right. Y'all, this woman changed my life. She changed my life for several reasons. She really opened my eyes to the challenges specifically for trans women, and more specifically for Black trans women, and the parallels between identity and acceptance and love and unconditional love and support, all of those things still were necessary and existed in just wanting to be who you are. And that whole idea around, why do we feel so entitled to people's identities? Why do we feel so entitled to that or bothered? But I don't understand it. So anyway, her story, like working with her for the time that I did, her story touched me in a really different way. It propelled my career in the direction specifically of working with the LGBTQ community a specialty of mine. Because here again are the parallels that I saw with being Black of, you just want to be. You want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be loved, you want to be supported. And how you show up, who you identify as, shouldn't be a deterrent of that. So again, this woman propelled me to invest and truly be committed to supporting the LGBTQ community. So it has been a really special space for me for a very long time now. And I'm still navigating that, because even the context of things, the landscape has changed. Now there's focus on pronouns, and again, I have my own perspectives on where I think the importance lies. However, I also honor the fact that I am an ally, I am a supporter, I am a lover of people and things. So I honor where people are and support them where they are. So the other space that I specialize in is self-exploration. And of course, that kind of parallels with what I was just saying about identity and boundaries and advocating for yourself, finding your voice, exploring who you are, how you got here, what your story is, how that story is or is not inundated with trauma and narratives that are not working for you, and how we can implore this space of honesty, transparency, advocacy, and accountability, but also a way to not only accept, embrace what your story is, but navigate it in a way that is functional and healthy. So these are all of the spaces that I really love to work in. Now, I do a lot of consultation because, of course, communication, training in mental health spaces, working with groups, I do really well. I love working with couples. I do a lot of relationship work. Again, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a licensed professional counselor, a licensed substance abuse treatment practitioner, a clinical trauma professional, a psychological autopsy investigator. So I like working in a lot of different spaces. Substance use is another one. I worked in substance use from the initiation of my career. My internship was in a residential substance use space. So I worked in substance use forever, and I approach it again a little bit non-traditionally. It's more risk reduction based. It is more it's less focused on the projected thing, whether that be drugs, alcohol, it could be food for some folks, and more around how we got here. What are the things encouraging you to cope this way or manage your feelings this way? So again, my approach to my work is really significant to me. I do not focus on diagnosis. Diagnosing is a necessary evil, if you will. It is a really helpful way to describe a collective group of symptoms. However, it is not a definitive and all-in-one experience. And I do not allow my clients to be defined in my work. I don't allow my clients to be defined by their diagnosis. They're much bigger than that. So we attack it from a very different perspective. I am not diagnosis focused. Never have been. I highly doubt that I ever will be. It is a necessary something that is a part of the work that I do. So one of the other things that I do is I teach graduate school. I teach practicum courses, which in that their students are getting into actually seeing clients. So we process clients, giving them feedback. We talk through and build a professional profile as far as a professional, who you are, how you show up, what are your biases, what are your identities, what are your challenges, what do you bring into the room. Those are things that we explore. And in that, I'm also teaching them how to use the theories, not in idea, but in functional sessions, right? There's a very clear difference in our work with learning about something and doing something. It is easy to talk about narrative when you read about the interventions and the organization of the sessions and who the therapist, that's cool. But how does that actually look in real time? It is not as organized and straightforward as you're reading it. That's just not how it works. So the therapist is really an integral part in understanding how to use the tools, how to use the theory, how to use the interventions, how to work through the steps. So that's a lot of what we do in practicum, which I really, really love. I also do consultation. So again, I have started this wellness space where I am creating women's wellness retreats. So this is a new experience for me. The first trip was last year to Curacao. The second trip this year is to Thailand. So I will be putting that also on my YouTube. Next year, the goal is to go to Zanzibar for the women's wellness retreat. I would love to get at least 10 women on that trip because I think it will be transformative. It is an experience where we will combine cultural explorations, wellness experiences, and the ability to just internally explore yourself in a freeing space. That's the idea, and that we're there to support each other. So I'm really excited about that new piece of things in having wellness retreats. But I've worked with book clubs, doing retreats. I would do family reunions. I'm really excited about expanding, providing wellness support to different entities. So please reach out to me, especially colleges, universities. I've done a wellness event recently with a local university, and it was fantastic. So I'm going to do a lot more speaking engagements, workshops, trainings, etc. So please reach out to me at the Mahogany Project, because I also do a lot of consultation as far as just giving perspective. Y'all so warm in here. Giving perspective to the news here, which I really, really enjoy. They'll have particular topics and they'll call and we'll do a conversation around whatever that particular mental health topic is. And I've done that for years. So shout out to Channel 13 because they've been fantastic. I'm sure you can find some of their videos on YouTube with me in them, or you've seen me on the news. So I really enjoy that as well. But I'm still working and expanding my brand. I'm curating the space of how I want healing to look and providing supports and tools for people that look like me and that just want a safe place to be themselves. So a little bit about how I got into my work. As a child, I struggled a lot with just feeling different. Like, I don't want to dress like everybody else. I don't talk like everybody else. And I don't even show up like everybody else. And it feels awkward. It feels, sometimes I feel picked on as a result of it. I feel like people really don't understand me. They don't get it. So that was one of my goals, to provide a safe space to people, and to provide a safe space for people to just be themselves. And that has literally been my story, me learning to create a space for me, and then having the privilege and pleasure of creating that space for other people. So I love this work. It can be very, 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 very exhausting. I would call my social fatigue meter gets very low very quickly. I limit my interactions, which is why this has been, I think, a little bit exhausting, because I talk for a living. I talk 8 hours a day most times, while I am working through listening, etc., having to be actively present emotionally, psychologically with people, and it can be really exhausting. So I try to have very clear boundaries around my personal space, my personal time. I'm very protective of that because it is what keeps me afloat. Playing Call of Duty, which I am certainly a savage, I really enjoy because it is a way I take care of myself. I work out 5 days a week. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3. Again, doing all the things. I still cook dinner 3 days a week. I still grocery shops. Laundry still has all the things, along with writing the books, along with being a friend, along with being a daughter, along with, again, being a mom, being a wife, along with being a professor, along with being a business owner, along with being an author and a speaker, and constantly building relationships and reaching out and trying to explore new opportunities. So that's just been a part of the work that is constant, constantly working in the space of trying to build my business in a way that I can expand and that I don't have to work as hard in the future. But it is constant. So I thank you for listening, and I hope that you subscribe. I hope that you share. I look forward to bringing more content to you very soon on a consistent basis, because I think it's necessary, and I think my voice in this space is necessary. There's so many gurus and experts and coaches that I get really confused about, because there has to be some education behind that, because everybody has an opinion. That doesn't make you an expert. And then how does that differentiate you from your friend? So I really love that and I've seen some other professionals come and provide some perspective in this space, because at this point, being a guru or an expert or a coach, it seems like that's just a word people use to validate their opinions and their perspective. So I want to make sure there's still some integrity around the work that we do, and providing some of that support here. So thank you. I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Like, subscribe to this channel. Please comment below. I'd love to hear your voices and your perspectives. And again, I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.